If you had to marry the first person you slept with, how different would your life be? Story 1. Absolutely miserable. Yep, I read the prompt and immediately said, oh man, gross, out loud. It would suck. Mine woke me up in the middle of the night and asked if I wanted to give him a BJ. I've never wanted to do something less in my life, mate. I dumped him on the following day and could not deal with that for the rest of my life. Edit. I think this is my most upvoted comment ever. And to everyone saying I'm miserable, I'm really not. My comment sounds scathing, but it's actually one of my favorite funny things that has ever happened to me. I look back on it with fondness. And we were both 16 and totally inexperienced in intimacy and relationships. Give me a break. You didn't say no, but you can lick my hoo-ha until I fall back asleep? Consider it done. Who needs sleep when you can be blowing? Sarcasm. The actual audacity to wake me up and ask if I wanted to. As if it was some kind of 2 a.m. treat. No, I do not. Call me when there's a proper midnight feast to be had. Otherwise, I'm not interested, thanks. I had a friend like this years ago. He was the odd one out in the group who couldn't get laid to save his life, and he had this weird idea of how it was to act cool. He went on a date with a really nice girl on the beach. They went for a walk, had a drink, and went and laid in the sand, watching the stars. I'd probably have said something like, "This is nice." What did Steven say? He said, "You trying to suck my tool?" Dude at this point had yet to even kiss a girl, and he was like 21. Can't imagine why, but she apparently was very quiet the rest of the night and blocked him when she got home. Did he try this technique multiple times despite repeated failure? Yeah, it's a solid line. It's just all about the delivery. He should have Shatnered it. Would you like to suck my tool? That would have worked for sure. What a catch. Oh dear, I'm cringing with secondhand embarrassment. I laughed so hard at this. I know a few people that might say this. I'm so sorry, you know my old coworker. He's in college now. Last I heard, he was trying to get into a party, and a girl was like, "If you need me to fake being your girlfriend to get into the party, I'm down." And he legit said, "Oh, I should be good." Boy never knows what to say and not to say to women ever. Right, like wake me up with a pizza and a rack of ribs. What the hell is this? Oh, so you'll suck off the ribs at 2 a.m. without a fuss. How many teddy bears did the ribs win you at the carnival? Sounds like my roommate woke me up last night at 4:30 to ask if I wanted to smash her drunk, obnoxious friend. What a total disgrace. I woke up at 4:45. Give me a shout next time. I can be there in 15 minutes. Same. I'd likely still be called selfish for pointing out hypocrisy or making friends with guys, be interrogated if I don't respond to a text message within 10 minutes, and have to defend myself for wanting to change my haircut/hair color. Absolute hell. It looks like he has a great job that lets him travel the world with his wife and kids now. His wife and I were classmates, and she was really lovely. I sincerely hope he changed and addressed his insecurities by the time they got together. It's funny how this whole story starts out with people going, "Ew, no, not ever." But by the end of the comments, people are saying, "What? There was an offer? I can be there. I can be there in 15 minutes. Like, people are still down in some ways. Story 2. That was the plan. She was the only person to accept me for me. We could not have been happier together. Then, on December 2nd, 1987, she perished in my arms. I don't have any memories of the next couple of years. I somehow graduated and have gone on to a fulfilling career. I didn't find another to love like I did her until 1999. She understands that there will always be a place in my heart where Kim lives on. This September will be our 22nd anniversary. R.I.P. Kimberly K. Speakman. You will always be loved. This is really totally heartbreaking. Even though it was a while ago and you're happy now, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I had a friend who died recently 2 days before he was going to propose to his girlfriend. His family lives abroad, so she was the only next of kin that could make arrangements here. I can't imagine having this whole life planned, and then it's gone in an instant. If you don't mind me asking, how did it happen? A couple years earlier, she was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease stage 3B. She fought back with everything she had. Chemo and radiation put it into remission, but had trashed her left hip, and she ended up with a hip replacement. That didn't stop her. During that time, I got in a motorcycle accident, crushed my knee, and got my own hip replaced. All of it just brought us closer together. I proposed that summer. We were finally able to get our own place together in October. I came home from clinicals, X-ray tech, and she wanted to lay down for a few minutes, so lay there with her. Our dogs needed to go out, so I kissed her on the forehead, told her I loved her more than anything, and she said she loved me too and would be down in a few to make some grilled cheese and tomato soup. I let the dogs out, and when I came back just a minute or two later, she was unresponsive. I started CPR and called 911. The feeling of her ribs breaking under my hands tore a chunk out of my soul. We decided against an autopsy. She had been through enough. Best guess? A pulmonary embolism stole her away from me. I have not had either a grilled cheese sandwich or tomato soup since. I just can't. The way I see it, the last thing she heard was how much you loved her. Not a bad way to slip away, and not much else you could have done. I second-guessed myself for a very long time. I stopped sleeping with a loaded pistol on my headboard when I married Karen. The only thing that stopped me in the empty years in between was knowing that Kim would hate me for all eternity if I decided to end the pain. Since then, I've done CPR countless times, including Karen's mother just 3 weeks after our wedding. I've had anesthesiologists ask me to stop compressing so hard because I was making the patient hypertensive. The thought of failing again tears me up. You didn't fail. CPR doesn't work very often, especially outside of a critical care setting. Was going to say this. He did the compressions correctly, as ribs cracking usually means you're in the correct place and applying correct pressure. For those who don't know, rib breakage is common during properly administered CPR. And if she was already weak due to chemo and such, then my intuition is that the likelihood of properly administered CPR working is much lower. Likely was not anything that could have been done, but the fact that he turned that loss into determination to save the lives of others is something that I'm sure I would be proud of if I was watching him from the afterlife. I know what it's like. I lost a close relative who had slipped into a coma. I had gone and left for school, and he was lying there, still alive, still in a coma, and I was called back to say he had passed. He was in the same position, but you could tell he was just gone. You could just tell. Story 3. Exactly the same. Edit. Thank you to everyone who shared your own stories and asked sincere questions. While we married the first people we were intimate with in this way, I do want to share that it wasn't exactly intentional, and it isn't terribly important in our relationship. It's simply how things worked out. For some people, it's really important, but if it isn't to you, then I think that's fine. There isn't one cookie-cutter right way for a healthy and supportive relationship to form, develop, and be maintained. I think our longevity has more to do with both of us constantly working on our communication and self-reflection skills, learning to curb our egos or take space and respect space where we can't, and staying together because we want to, not because we feel like we have to. Being in a relationship wasn't a life goal, but maintaining this one has become one of the things most important to me. Same here. Almost 40 years together now. Me too. My one and only. And I don't regret the lack of other experiences. Celebrating 26 years of marriage this October. Celebrating 20 years with my wife, 7 married, and she's my one and only. Intimacy is cool, but a deeper personal connection is more attractive and satisfying to me. Congrats to you two. Deep personal connection. Look at this nerd and his happiness. I was my husband's first. I was really worried at first he'd regret not experimenting more, but nope. 13 years and we're still going strong. My wife and I were each other's firsts. At about the 15-year mark, we started wondering if we were missing out by not experimenting more. We dipped our toes in the lifestyle, i.e. became swingers, and found out that we weren't really missing out on anything at all. Turns out that being with someone who knows everything about how to turn you on and a deep emotional connection makes intimacy far better than anything you can get with random hookups. We had some good times, but just kind of lost interest in the lifestyle after a bit and haven't had any desire to experiment again. Now I've been married 24 years and stronger than ever. That is really cool. I know that not everyone is going to find that person right off the bat their first time, and there shouldn't be any pressure to make that first time the one person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. But I'm really happy these people were able to stay their one and only. And it's not just about being intimate. It's just them having that deeper personal connection. I'm glad they have that. Story 4. Mine was a physical violator, so I'm guessing my life is significantly worse. Same. The whole how did you lose your virginity thing friends do can be a real downer if I'm asked. I went with the first time I had consensual intimacy. Kind of go with that in my own mind, too. One of the things a good therapist told me was, you don't have to consider your violation losing your virginity. You can choose the first time you consented. It's still hard to think of it that way, but it helps settle my mind a lot. When I was younger and the virginity question was brought up, I would just go with the first time I consented. Stops from having to ruin everyone's fun and makes it to where I reinforce my first time consenting as my true first time. It's a win-win. It's all a made-up humanism anyway. We're the only species that does it, which for societal reasons I get why, but physically your life doesn't technically change. Honestly, I've never considered my childhood intimate abuse at all when considering my first time. I didn't have a hymen, and hymens aren't even a sign of virginity. I always thought of first times as the first time you consented to intimacy. Virginity itself is kind of a made-up metric, so we can decide when our first times were however we want. That's how I see it anyway. And I can't imagine how much worse that abuse would have impacted me if I didn't think this way. Yeah, mine spiked my drink and violated me, and then acted like he did nothing wrong. I got a PTSD from it, but I do not recommend it. It's sad that this is so common. Story 5. She is a librarian in Norway. I'm a lawyer in America. One of our lives would be drastically different. He was a lawyer, she was a librarian. Can I make it more obvious? He stayed at home, she went away, what more can I say? He thought it went well, but she got quite bored, and she felt a longing to see the fjords. He was a lawyer, she said, "Visnackis, boy." He wasn't Nord enough for her. She has a pretty face, but her love was a bookcase. She needed to come out of the fantasy world. 5 from now, she's reading a tome. Sorting her books, she's all alone. She turns on PC, guess who she sees? American lawyer winning Remedy. She packs her bookends, they're ready to go, and they're all good pickets. That is for show. She goes to court and sits in the back. Look up at the suit that she turned down. Story 6. I just laughed out loud because I'm single and have never slept with anyone. Same. I've never fallen in love with anyone. I just paint pictures and do hobbies. Oh, nice. I just live in tremendous nerve pain instead of having relationships. It put me in a position where I honestly couldn't care less about even being social and having friends, much less going out and dating people. Oh, nice. I had cancer and a bone marrow transplant, and now I'm in premature menopause and decided I didn't want to force my way into romantic relationships anymore. So I guess I'm waiting for something to happen organically with someone I really trust? Edit. Words are hard. Good luck, man. Life is pretty messed up all around, though. And while it would probably be amazing to be in a relationship with a really great person, I'm just not really for it as a whole anymore. Also, this will be the next guy to comment, "Oh, nice." Well, for those that choose not to be in relationships or choose not to go down that path and choose to better themselves and do what they want, hey, that's great. Really bad for those that had to do it, that haven't done it for medical reasons. And I guess they're just used to it now. I guess it's a little tragic, but at least they're kind of accepting of where they are in life and are able to survive. Story 7. He was my first love. And even after we broke up, I'd often fantasized that we'd eventually reunite and get married someday. We're both married to other people now, and I'm incredibly happy with my current partner of 18 years. But every once in a while, I still wonder how that would have worked out. Similar to this, he actually reached out a couple of years ago, and it was like going back 10 years. Did it hurt the same, or were you just grateful? Neither? He's a good dude, but I'm happy now. Wouldn't trade that for anything. Also similar to this in my case, and I often think about reaching out to her. Haven't seen her in 10 years or talked to her in 8 years, but I always wonder how she's been doing. She doesn't have social media, so I only occasionally see her show up in a picture her cousin posts, maybe once a year. Always felt she wouldn't want to hear from me, though, so I do nothing. Every once in a while, I'll have a dream where my first love shows up and we just catch up. It's the only recurring dream I have. She always shows up in my dreams. I'm very happy without her, but she always shows up in my dreams. 1 out of every 20. The other 19 are just weird and nonsensical for the most part.
Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 8. I did exactly that. It was amazing. Until I found out she was cheating on me with at least 4 other men that I know of. It was probably more. Over the course of a couple years. She left me for one of them, and I finally came to terms with it last year and have begun feeling happy on my own again. I feel you. My fiancé's daughter showed me all the messages from the multiple other men she was entertaining. Broke me into bits. Still shattered, really. Edit. Thank you for all the support. It's really not an easy time right now, and I greatly appreciate your kindness. This speaks well of you that the daughter wanted you to know. Edit. I'm aware that there are many ways to interpret what happened. I choose the most charitable one in this case. OP earned the trust of a kid who knows her mother is a turd and recognizes OP as a good guy. The daughter is probably suffering the effects of being raised by a narcissist. Typically, this works out to make kids very sympathetic and aware of injustice, although I recognize that it can also teach them to be sociopathic schemers. Assuming the best, I suggest that OP served as a good example to this kid, and that's a silver lining if true. Story 9. Given that the first person I slept with is now a lesbian, I'd either be someone's beard or more likely still trying to recover from a divorce. Ross? Is that you? Might as well be, his username checks out after all. Marcel! The first man I slept with also turned out to be gay, so that'd be a weird marriage. I ran into him recently and he invited me over. His house is so filthy for an almost 40-year-old that it made me gag, so I guess I dodged 2 bullets with this one. Story 10. I think he's a cult leader or in a cult or something, so very, very different. Last time I tracked him down about 8 years ago, he was doing these classes on spiritual healing using chakras and stuff. This is after he failed out of chiropractor school. How the hell do you fail out of chiropractor school? By being spineless. By starting a cult. To be fair, you can also fail as a cult leader by enrolling in chiropractic school, so it does work both ways. Story 11. Well, unless her male relatives show up at your door with pew-pews and a positive pregnancy test. True story. A lady and gentleman in my town were single their whole lives and finally found each other in their 60s. Morning of the wedding, groom gets a knock on his door. The lady's brothers are there with pew-pews. They escorted him to the church. The couple said their vows and rode off into the sunset on their Harleys. That's pretty funny, actually. Good induction into the family. But this is online. You can call them guns. You aren't going to get demonetized. Ooh, you said the G word. I'm telling. Story 12. Terrible. She recently reached out to me after 25 years because she wants to cheat on her husband. How did that message even go? Hey, it's been a while. Damn, 25 years. How's life been treating you? Me? I'm married and honestly looking to cheat. You down? I don't have any social media, so she got my number through a mutual friend from high school. She lives in a different state, and she was in town to bring her daughter to check out universities in my city. She framed it as, hey, want to catch up? I thought, sure, why not? Well, I found out why not. Story 13. He became addicted to the hard rock substance and then jumped off a building due to his mental health downfall. He was a really nice guy otherwise, so I guess I'd be a widow? Jumped off a building. Downfall. Holy hell, people. It's Jason Bourne. I first became addicted to pills. Basically wasted his life and potential. Ended up ODing in his 30s. I'd be a widow with you. Story 14. Rom-com waiting to happen. He's a lawyer from America. You waving down a cab with a briefcase and suit jacket in hand. She is a librarian from Norway. Oh, we're back to this again. Her sitting quietly in the library, looks up from her book to gaze out the window off into the clouds. It's Norway Home, coming this Thanksgiving to theaters near you. I think being released directly on the Hallmark Channel is more likely. Story 15. I'd be in prison for unaliving my mother-in-law. Question. What's the definition of mixed feelings? Answer. Watching your mother-in-law drive off a cliff in your brand new car. I just wanted you to know this is the funniest thing I've seen today, and it's my birthday. Take a poor man's award. Edit. Thank you to all of the kind internet strangers who wished me a happy birthday. Story 16. It'd be great. We never dated, but were really close for a good many years and would have made a great couple, but life and events never lined up properly. We'd probably both be really happy and things would be awesome. I would have avoided a lot of hogwash in my life, but there's no telling if I'd be anywhere near the same person, so who knows? We would have had awesome kids. Her kids right now are awesome anyways. She wouldn't have been cheated on and gotten herpes. That'd probably be her biggest change in life. I'm more than happy with my current girlfriend, though, so there aren't any regrets or wondering what if. Story 17. Early connections do not always result in fulfilling love. That being said, if I was married to my first love, I would be depressed. I had a group of individuals that I thought were my friends. Amongst them was my partner. Friend first, partner later. Turns out I was none of their friends. They kept me around because my partner liked me. I was an acquaintance for 6 years. I figured this out on my birthday and have been a little broken ever since. Still care about them, but I know they don't care for me. Well, that sounds devastating. I'm sorry. Story 18. I would be a widower. She was hit by a truck when she was 18. Edit. Holy hell. I didn't expect to get this much attention. To reply to a lot of you, no, I do not drive a truck, but thanks for the laughs. Hell, dude. First died of cancer 1 year ago. Story 19. Have you ever thought of visiting her there over Christmas, falling in love, trying to save her from her mundane life by taking her to America, having her refuse, going dejectedly back to the airport, realizing you can't get on the plane, and turning around just in time only to see her running toward you as well with a ticket because neither one of you can live without the other? Well, my wife might take issue with that. Story 20. He was a jerk and eventually married the person he cheated on me with. They're miserable, and several mutual friends and very light Facebook checking confirm that they are always broke and blame each other for their own failures. I told my friends at the time that I didn't care if they stayed friends with her, but I wouldn't trust her around their boyfriends. She then used a fake pregnancy and abortion to steal money from them all. Both of them have not grown since that time, and I alternate between feeling sorry for them and feeling that they deserved what they got. Story 20. I'll tell you in a few years. An optimist. I interpreted it as just got married to him/her. I'll let you know how it turns out in a few years. But now that I read your comment, I realize this could also mean he or she will sleep with someone in a few years. Story 22. You should show the husband DMs. F her. Please, don't F her. Smash the husband instead and send her the pics. Show them who's boss. The ultimate display of dominance, lads. Story 23. Wait, you mean you don't have to marry the first person you sleep with? Oh man, I actually did marry the first person I slept with. She just turned out to be really cool. These stories are always so cute when they happen. Story 24. She goes to a different country. You wouldn't know her. What's her name? Nora? Norway? Norway, we can make this work, baby. I'm sorry. Story 25. I did. We just celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary. Us too. We're closing in on 50. Happy 50th to all four of you. Story 26. Did you bond over a footnote fetish? Oh, deity, damn it.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.